came out. Jesus. Oh, the hills are gonna come out. Mine is back home, and when I talk about back home, my accent gets so bad.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, we were just talking with another group about how people like accidentally like take on accents if they've been around people too long.
Oh yeah.
I'm totally guilty of that.
That's what I was thinking. The ladies we were talking to are from Scotland, right? And and I was so afraid the whole time I was gonna like fall into an accent the entire time. I was like, stop! Like I had to pause before everything I said so I wouldn't fall into a really awful accent.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
I do that when I've been a place. When I was in Ireland, I went for a week for a charity thing, and I was like trying to mimic the accent. I'm like, they're probably so irritated with me right now.
The time that it was worse for me was we have family friends from Minnesota. And so we like spent like a full on long vacation together with them. And by the end of it, I was saying like, yeah, like Minnesota, let's get some pop. Let's go down to the store and get some pop, guys.
I love it. I love
Stupid.
That's fantastic.
Oh, I do that with my sister. She's from Chicago. So
oh yeah,
I love
that. Good one.
Oh yeah, Chicago. Yeah,
Chicago.
Like, stop it. But like, your accent's weird. I'm like, well, yours is loud. That's pretty much all I had.
That's awesome. Where did you guys grow up?
I've always been in Arkansas. My sister Eliza is my half sister, so she grew up in Chicago.
Okay,
and then my other half sister grew up with me in Arkansas, and then I have another half sister that I didn't know existed until my 20s, like soap opera thing. She's from Wisconsin.
Oh my God.
She's hours away from where my husband grew up. So weird connections.
There was a gal that I used to work with that it was cool because I was working there at the period in her life where all this happened. She barely knew her dad. She was really, really close with her mom. Her mom was really sick and she was passing away. And so her mom was like, there's some stuff I should tell you. And so anyway, my girlfriend ends up finding out that she has like 3 siblings, like half siblings, and they're all like right around her age. And so she found out about them when she was like 30. And it was just really cool because then they're like best friends now. They hang out all the time. She had no idea they were local. I know. I just was like, that was the coolest thing. Like one of those moments where it was just so cool to be there. Cause like, what are the odds that I got to work? I was only at that job for like a year, but I was there right when this happened. I remember her, like, we kind of shared a desk and she just turned around and she's like, I have a brother and sister like that, and just crying. Yeah, I know. So sweet.
All right, update. I did pour the Truly on top of my cocktail. Good. It's good. It is a good. I love it.
And if you're watching, you can comment along. There's a comment box if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Can you guys see the comments? Well, there's not any yet, but if there is, it's in the top right.
I see the little tab.
Yes.
And will all comments from all platforms pop up in here?
It's supposed to.
Very cool.
Okay. I'm double checking Facebook to make sure it's working because last time I did this, it did not work. I only saw the YouTube ones. Oh, hello there. Hello. We're just chatting. Give you guys a
hey there. How's it going? That's awesome.
Oh, yes.
I'm using can you see, Leah, which wine glass I have? Can you see?
Legends of Wine. Yeah.
This is one of the most drunk I have ever been.
I used to go every year. Got that drunk every year.
And then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's.
It's like a local event that goes on in Sacramento that I've gotten invited to, luckily, just through connections and stuff. And they always give me a +1. And so I every year take a different +1. And one year I took Rachel. And yeah, it's basically free wine tasting.
Yes.
And endless wine.
Endless wine. And because Sacramento's like very close to Napa, Sonoma. So they like bring in a lot of wineries from that area, as well as other a little bit more closer wineries. And yeah, it's just free tastings of wine and some cheese. That's the only sustenance there is cheese.
Well, that sounds like a party I want to be a part of.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I went to a unlimited wine thing at the Little Rock Zoo one time. They do it every year for Halloween. So it's unlimited wine and beer, and then they have like s'mores as your only food. But it was amazing.
S'mores. Fantastic. Oh my God. That's really going to preserve you.
At least you have some carbs there with the graham cracker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was so drunk, and I was at the White Rhino exhibit, and it kept on coming close to me, and I'm like, he wants to say hi, and Zeke's like, he wants to eat your face. Please stop. Like, okay, you might be right. He was like bouncing, and he's like, he's about to charge. I'm like, no, he's not.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
It was a lot of wine.
Yeah, that's what happens. It happens.
It's a good time.
We have pictures from that night that I'm like hanging out, like arms around people I've never met. Leah never met them, but like by the end of the night, I had their phone numbers. And,
she was convinced she was going to be best friends with this like friend of a friend,
a friend of a friend of a friend
of a friend,
of a friend, and even still like. I have one of those like Google Home. What is it called, Leah? Like the Google Home thing that you have too, that you have in the kitchen.
Oh, the Nest
yeah. It's just like, do you know what? I don't know. I'm asking.
But it's like a screen, a Google screen in the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have one, and it's filtered to like go through pictures that have like my face in them, or like my husband's face in them, or our nieces or whatever, right? And so every once in a while, this picture will come up from Legends of Wine of like me like hanging out with all these people that I've never met before. Yeah, I see it probably like once a week. This picture pop up. It's so great.
It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, yes, Pride. They know how to party.
Oh.
Yes.
Galveston Pride. Love it.
Never. I don't think I've been to Galveston yet. Fredericksburg is close to me, and apparently it's one of those where you just have a wine glass and you can go all over town and drink in the streets and nobody cares.
I love all winery.
Things. Yes. I love all of those things.
As soon as we get into the after times and we can do things again, it's on my list.
That is truly how we're going to refer to this, right? The before and after times. Yep.
Yeah, today it was like breaking records in Texas, and our governor's like, everything's fine, don't worry about the holidays. And I was like, oh no.
Oh, and yeah, see, whereas our governor is like, you better not have any large gatherings, you can't do this, it's shut down, but I'm gonna go have a large party at what did he do?
It was at like a
French Laundry,
yeah,
which is like a high 5-star restaurant or whatever.
And there were doctors at that event
with like a bunch of people. Yeah. It's like, thanks, dude.
But he's also the same guy that's like, don't go see your mom. Like, I hope you have not seen your mother in the last 9 months, pretty much.
Yeah. My mom's town, I think it's like 12,000 people, and 24 people have died just in like the last month. Like, and that's a huge percentage. So I'm like, don't leave your house. Don't even crack a window. Like,
don't sniff the outdoor air.
Just do nothing.
My mom, last week, so she's been staying inside, and I told her something like I had to go to the grocery store or something. She texts me, she's like, tell me what the outside looks like.
Oh, Kim.
I know, and that was a day when it was like raining. I was like, actually, it really sucks outside. So I was like, it looks really, really gloomy.
We went for a hike on Sunday, and it's this thing called Jacob's Well, and it's this 126-foot abyss in the water. So it's really cool. It's like an underwater cave. Like, it's really, really cool. So we went, and everybody's outside. Nobody was wearing a mask, and every time somebody walked by me, I caught myself being like, just like, don't breathe on me.
Yeah, we just recently went hiking too, up in Placerville, which is like just up kind of near Tahoe, Lake Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
And so we were hiking up there, and every time you like come across people, because trails are narrow, right?
Yeah.
And every time you cross them, I'm like climbing up the side of the mountain out of their way, right? I'm like trying to get like, and some of them aren't wearing masks, which obviously, why would you wear a mask when you're hiking?
Yeah. Why would you?
Side, like, it's whatever, but I'm just like,
They did. So California, we've had a mask mandate for a long time now. It's been a good 6 months, but they did, right, Leah, would you say?
Like
I mean, it was
7 months, 8.
I feel like it was pretty much like a month. Time is irrelevant. Yeah. But we've had it for a long time, but they just recently updated it pretty much to say like, no, we're serious, wear your mask all the time. And one of those updates was to say, you know, when you're outside, of course you don't have to wear a mask. If you're outside, you're more than 6 feet away from people, blah blah blah. But they say the expectation now is that you always have a mask on you if like something happened to where you needed to wear one. So even I go on like my morning walks every morning, and I have a face mask in my sweatshirt pocket for I don't know if something happens where I have to have it.
Yeah, I do that too every once in a while because I'm lucky I live on a block that's a mile, so I can just do like a mile every morning.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Sometimes like a neighbor will pop out of nowhere and I'm like, let me get my mask out.
Yeah.
Although one yesterday did not think I was as funny as I am. Like they were walking past me and I was listening to a podcast and they said fuck like 5 times in a row. And I was like, you never know how much your podcast cuss until a neighbor walks by and they're like, stop talking to me. It's like I was just trying to be friendly.
Oh my God. That is always the worst though, when it's like, I mean, this meme has come up before and it's like 100% my life where like one time I was doing Walmart grocery pickup. And so I pull up and they put the groceries in the car. And as the guy's putting the groceries in my car, of course, it's the part where it's like a true crime podcast. And they're like, and then he slit her throat and the blood was gushing out everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Please just put my milk and eggs in the car and leave. Oh my God. Of course. And like leading up to that, cat, whatever, cool conversation. And then literally the second the employee was putting eggs in my car.
Oh God!
The moment they talk about like slashing throats,
yes, naturally.
I think one time I was getting fast food or something, and I was listening to Wine and Crime, who I adore.
Oh yeah,
but it was like their foreskin crimes.
Oh,
which was literally like the worst. They went on like everything that you could call foreskin, and that was right when they opened the window, and I was like, "Oh my God!
Oh my God!"
I guess I'm not weird.
they have to get used to it at some point, or like be familiar. Like, yeah, everyone else is listening to true crime too. It's cool.
And I feel like I've done that to people too, since I've had a whole episode on historical dicks and a whole episode on lady bits. So.
Yeah, you're part of the problem.
I'm part of the problem. My husband's just like, why is there a dick story in every episode? I'm like, not every story, but like, you know, 90%. A large percent. Because they're hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. I would say even the last time we were on your show, we talked about dicks a
lot.
So. LBJ, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We are also part of the problem.
They brought it up 2 episodes ago. We're talking about Walt Disney World. So the presidents all have their outfits are historically accurate and they make them the way they are. And they were like, what do you think they did for LBJ?
Oh my God. Put extra length in the seam of the inseam, right? As requested.
So gosh. One of the commenters said she played the historical dicks episode for her mom.
I love it.
For those of you that are here for #history, the historical dicks episode is what inspired the podcast because I knew unfortunate information about Rasputin and his enormous member and
3 foot long member.
And my husband ordered a Rasputin beer. And I was like, let me tell you a story. And he was like, no. And then I was like, that'd be a fun podcast.
And thus here we are. Born. Yeah. You know what I think of? I think of remember the awesome theme song for Powerpuff Girls, like Sugar Spice or whatever, mix it up, and thus the Powerpuff Girls were born. That's your podcast, Tina.
Yes.
Like Rasputin's dick, throw a little bit of LBJ's jumbo in there, and thus the podcast was born.
Yes. Got some Napoleon mummified finger penis.
Of course. Yeah. And Catherine the Great's boob tables or whatever, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
History's so weird.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
All right. We want to jump into it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
for sure.
Something on my face that I keep on seeing it shine, but it might just be my highlighter because I'm not used to being like fancy.
not used to putting on highlighter. That happened.
Yeah. This year has been a whole lot of like makeup. Who is she? I don't know.
And I was really hoping that my skin and hair was going to be fantastic looking by now because it's been 9 months of pretty much not wearing any. I'm like, why do I still have wrinkles? I was hoping these would go away. Oh, and yes, for Caleb just commented, he said, please tell me that y'all have listened to the LBJ tapes from Ordering Pants. Yes, we have. And actually on the episode that we have guested on with Kina before, we played the audio from those tapes. That is, It was that audio that inspired our episode. So
chef's kiss. It was so good. All right. So I'll do the welcome and then we'll say our names and then the intro and then we'll chat a little bit. And then you guys want to go first since you got the murdery one?
You got it.
Okay. Yeah.
I can end it with some friendly spooks. Maybe they're friendly. We don't know.
Don't know.
Hello, Giggle Water Gang. This is Historical AF. I'm Kina.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
We are two history podcasts bringing you some historical and spooky nuggets about 19th century outlaws and criminals.
Woo-hoo.
Woo! I'm excited to have you guys back.
Thank you. Thank you for having us again. We had so much fun last time.
Yes.
Definitely.
Hashtag history is back. They just couldn't stay away or I, nagged them to come back.
Yeah, we did sign that contract. So here we are again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we had a bunch of fun last time. Thanks for having us again.
Oh, it is a pleasure. Yeah, everybody really loved your episode. I'm glad you guys are back. And it's always fun to hang out with other history podcasters because we can geek out together.
Yeah, it's the nerdiest. That's
It truly, truly is. It's the best of times.
Yes.
And we need all the joy we can get this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
I said that as I was gulping down wine.
chug. Which this comes out right before Thanksgiving. So if that's a thing you celebrate, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, anybody. Anybody.
Anybody.
Everybody.
Anybody. Like our Canadians being like, we don't celebrate it on that day.
Yeah, I know. Didn't they celebrated like a month ago, right?
I think
something
so.
Like that. Yeah.
Something I should know, but I do not.
Yeah, I know. As history nerds, I don't know.
I have a very specific part of history I'm an expert in. It's very small.
And apparently it's not very small. We were just referring to Rasputin, no?
That's true.
Not very small at all.
Yes. Yes, that is very true.
Okay, so do you want us to take it away, Kina?
Hold on a second. My husband's like making a lot of noise. He's like a freaking wrecking, like bull in a china shop. That's what it's called. Okay, son. And then about 8, my dogs will start barking again because that's when they eat, and they have to do tricks. So
I love it.
If I pause or whatever, that's what that is. You'll hear it. You can't miss it. But yes, I would love for you guys to go get some criminals in here.
Yes,
absolutely.
So in honor of the criminal theme, we are bringing you the story of Lizzie Borden. So for anyone that is tuning in that's already listened to our podcast, you may have already heard our episode about Lizzie Borden. If you haven't already heard it, we did a really deep dive into it in our episode 12, which feels like it was 100 years ago, even though that was only like 6 months ago. But we did already do a deep dive into Lizzie Borden, and we're super excited to get to do that again here tonight because she is so fascinating.
Oh, yes. And I just saw her house is for sale and I want it so
yes.
badly.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have updated notes about her house towards the end of the episode. I have all the deets on square footage and furnishing and all the goods. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because I feel like maybe the three of us could go in on it together.
Yeah. Maybe get a few other people, a few other history podcasts to
Okay. I'm loving this because we'll get to it, but there are 7 bedrooms. We can all just have our own podcast studio in each one of the rooms.
Yes, I am in.
Okay.
1,000%.
I like it. Venmo me later. Venmo me $200,000 later, please. So the Lizzie Borden trial, which occurred in 1892, went through to 1893. It would be marked as one of the first trials in which the media oversaturated the case, much like more modern day examples that we know today, such as, the O.J. Simpson trial or the Casey Anthony trial. But all of this media attention is really what led to all the speculation that we still have about the case today. In fact, there has been so much talk about the Lizzie Borden case that there is even a nursery rhyme associated with it. Have you heard it before, Kina?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I should have known. Why did I ask that question? Of course you have. But for anyone that hasn't, or just to really get the spooky feels going, here's the rhyme. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
Ugh. Creepy.
Aren't nursery rhymes like the worst?
They really are. They're like of the darkest shit. Like they're so dark.
Yeah, they all have very dark origins.
And kids are just like jumping around. This is great. Talking about all this death.
So to give you a little background, Lizzie was born on July 19th in 1860 in Fall River, Massachusetts, because we realized every episode has something happen in Massachusetts. So just
something's going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in Massachusetts. She grew up in a super Christian and super modest household, despite her father being relatively wealthy. Her dad, Andrew Jackson Borden, was a super successful property developer that ended up amassing what would be in today's currency an estate worth more than $8 million. So he was pretty...
Wow.
Yeah, they were sitting comfortably, you could say. Despite that, he committed himself and his family to a super frugal lifestyle. Many of his family and friends lived in much nicer parts of town, with the Borden family staying in a more conservative household located on 92nd Street in Fall River, which later it was 232nd Street, Fall River. There's actually a picture of the house that we uploaded. Hopefully we can share it for us to describe and for the viewers to see.
Yes, I have it pulled up. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen real quickly, if that's all right. Okay. Share screen. I have to read all the things that it tells me and say, yes, indeed, I do. This one. Okay. Okay, can you see that?
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at here for the house.
Yeah. So it's a pretty modest house. It doesn't, it's 2 stories, so that's cool. But I mean, I think my house is probably bigger than that, right?
Yeah, that's. I was thinking of my own house. Like my house is like a 10th of the size of that.
Yeah.
No, your house is bigger than that, Leah.
So it's like my house isn't that big, but I'm just saying it's modest, especially for having $8 million in your bank account, right?
Yes. Sure.
So the other unfortunate thing about this modest house that the Bordens lived in was that there was no indoor plumbing or electricity. Even though these were commonplace amenities at that time, especially of someone of Mr. Borden's stature who could afford such things.
Well, there's your crime right there.
Right?
Certainly.
I remember in our episode, I was hearing the story for the first time in detail on our podcast, and my reaction was like, well, that's why she murdered them. Yeah. Like, come on.
Motive established. What if they go into the police headquarters, right? And they're like, we just don't know who would do this. And they're like, well, you do know they don't have indoor plumbing, right? He's like, got it.
The daughters, it's one of them.
Yeah, got it. Everything here is understood.
Yeah. So it just goes to show how cheap Mr. Borden really truly was. He was crazy cheap. There was a lot of tension in the Borden home leading up to the murders, not just because of the electricity and lack of plumbing, but because Daddy made the family shovel their own shit when it was entirely unnecessary. No, I'm joking. That's just my assumption. No, for one, Lizzie's mom died when she was young, leaving her and her oldest sister, Emma, to stay with their dad for only 3 years before he remarried. So, I don't know. That seems, to some, that might seem quick. Even though they were quite young at the time, Lizzie and Emma despised their stepmom. Her name was Abby, and they believed that she had only married their father for his wealth. They would often refuse to eat dinner with the family and would sassily refer to Abby as Miss Borden to show that she was not family to them.
Yeah.
On top of that, both Lizzie and Emma were becoming frustrated with their father, who began gifting real estate to his wife's family in the months before the murders.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
You can't give me plumbing, but you're going to give them a house?
Right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
The sisters demanded their own piece of real estate because of this, and then their father sold them a rental property that he had lived in when they were kids. He sold it to them for $1. So pretty cool, Dad. Thanks. I'll buy a house for $1. Thank you.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
So this is where it gets really effed up because, okay, so $1 in equivalent today is $30. Okay, keep that in mind. So in the ultimate fuck you, the Twisted Sisters ended up selling it back to their dad shortly before the murders for $5,000, which is equivalent to about $140,000 today. So even though he essentially gifted it to them for $1, they were like, take it back, but give us $150,000. Thanks, Pa.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, what the hell were they on? This whole thing reeks of spoiled brat to me personally. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
I agree.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of tension here. And so with all this built up tension, we also know that there was this huge family fight in July of 1892 that actually led Lizzie and Emma to leave the family home for an extended period of time in which they stayed in New Bedford, which we've also had an episode in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Again,
all Massachusetts.
Our podcast is a history of Massachusetts, it would appear. Only a week before the murders did Lizzie return to town, but even then she stayed in a boarding house in town for a handful of days before actually going back to her dad's house. So she goes back to her dad's, and within days, everyone in the house is disgustingly sick. Many in the Borden family suspected the reason for how ill they were was because they had been eating leftover mutton that had been on the stove for days. So for anyone that's not familiar, mutton is sheep's meat, and it was left. Yes, everyone's
so gross.
It's so gross. So I'm going to give everyone a moment while our stomachs are gurgling. We'll take a break. But yeah, so I mean, the meat is literally left on the stove for several days. Remember how cheap we said Mr. Borden was? It's speculated that this is why the mutton was eaten over the course of several days, because he was so cheap that he made his family eat days-old meat.
Ugh.
Yeah, that one makes my stomach hurt. No. There's also another popular theory about why the family suddenly came down with an illness. Cue the Forensic Files music here. I love it. There was a local drugstore owner that claims that he saw Lizzie Borden attempt to purchase hydrogen cyanide the day before the murders, but was unable to since she did not have a prescription. In fact, there is evidence that Abby Borden, the stepmom, did actually suspect that poison was the reason why the family had been feeling so ill. Mr. Borden was not very well liked in town. He was actually a bit of a jerk, and the family had long speculated if and when the townspeople may retaliate his behavior.
No, a jerk?
I am shocked.
This is a surprise to everyone.
All right, so we're now at the day before the murders. John Morse, who is Lizzie's uncle, so the brother of Mr. Borden, was invited to stay a couple of nights at the Borden household in order to discuss quote unquote business with their father. What kind of business, you ask? Historians have determined that Mr. Borden and Morris were likely discussing property transfer business, which may have been the final nail in the coffin. So if we are to understand that Mr. Borden's property sales had indeed upset Lizzie and Emma, you can see where this is leading. So Morse stays the night of August 3rd, 1892, sleeping in the guest room. That's important, guys. It's going to come up again later. After breakfast the next morning, Morse and Mr. Borden talk for about an hour or so more before Morse left the house at around 8:48 a.m. That's very specific.
Very specific.
To attend to some other business, but he promised that he intended to return for lunch for sure. Me too. Morse.
As long as it's not mutton.
Yes, please God, as long as it's not the mutton. So Mr. Borden then also left shortly after that to go on his usual morning walk. So now we've finally made it to the actual day of the murders, August 4th, 1892, 99 years to the day before my birth.
happy early birthday.
Thank you. Thanks. And which, despite what many theories stated, it was not the hottest day of the year, and we'll get to that later. Again, another important thing we'll get to. But anyways, August 4th, which was still a pretty hot day in Massachusetts, Morse, Mr. Borden, Miss Borden, Lizzie, and the housemaid Bridget Maggie Sullivan, they've all finished breakfast and are going their separate ways. It's sometime after breakfast that Mrs. Borden goes to the guest room to straighten it up for Morse. And can we talk about that? Because super host, Rachel, if you ever stayed at my house, I'm not tucking your bed sheets back in for you.
Rude. Very rude. I expect breakfast and my sheets to be tucked.
Okay. Well, you will be sorely disappointed because I'm sorry I'm not doing that, especially if I have a housemaid. Like, what?
Yeah, that too.
That is very true. Yeah. So now all we know next from forensic science, again, you got to do the forensic
Yeah.
Yes. Is that Miss Borden was facing her killer when she was struck on the side of her head by a hatchet, which then caused her to fall to the floor, where she busted her nose and her forehead. She was then struck several times on the back of the head by approximately, get this, 17 hits by a hatchet.
That's a lot of anger.
Overkill.
That's what, like, whenever you hear like, oh, and there were 37 gunshots, I'm like, you had to reload. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Wow.
But like, also, I would be tired swinging an axe once.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
but
that's
like,
a whole other piece to this. It's like you lifted that hatchet 17 times.
After 10 strokes, your mind is no longer in the anger stage, and you're in the, oh, I'm hacking someone's face off. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you're still
absolutely
going.
Right. It moves to a very conscious position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's a lot of anger there. I have to assume. This is where stuff gets kind of confusing and conflicting accounts happen. So everyone starts telling a different story. Because according to Sullivan, that's the housemaid, it's around 10:30 a.m. when she says that Mr. Borden returns from his walk and was unable to get the front door open. He called for help, to which...
I feel like we're playing a game of Clue. The housemaid was in the kitchen.
For sure.
Not with the hatchet.
Not with the hatchet, no. So the maid Sullivan went to go help Mr. Borden open the door because he couldn't get in because he's a dumb fuck. When she was also unable to get the jammed door open, she starts swearing, to which she testifies she heard Lizzie, specifically Lizzie, laugh from the top of the staircase.
No.
First of all, super creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
very
okay
dramatic.
with that. Yeah. And then secondly, this is also important because anyone on the second story of the house at that time would have known that Miss Borden was dead and axed and, chopped in the face a million times. And there was no way you could miss her based on her location where she was found.
Right. I do recall when we recorded this episode, Leah, you had just moved into your house, right? Or it was like you had only been there for like a month or so. And I remember us recording this. You were like home alone.
Yeah.
And then I said something about like Lizzie laughed from the top of the stairs. And you're like, give me a second. I need to go lock every single window. And you can hear that in our episode where she's like, okay, I'll be right back. So that's that story. Lizzie, on the other hand, she tells a completely different story, of course. She states that she most certainly was not upstairs. She says nothing about the jammed door experience. Rather, when Mr. Borden returned from his walk and asked Lizzie where Mrs. Borden was, she tells him that Mrs. Borden went to go visit a sick friend. I guess that leftover mutton was going around town. Lizzie also says later that she helped Mr. Borden remove his boots before he took a nap on the couch. We know that this couldn't have been true, though, because the awful, awful, awful pictures of their bodies after they had died show Mr. Borden's dead body on the couch with his shoes on. Finally, Lizzie then testified that she suggested Sullivan run to the store, but Sullivan rejected the offer since she was still feeling like shit, as was the rest of the family from being sick for so many days. And she instead went to her bedroom to take a nap. It all sounds super suspicious, right?
Yeah.
By Sullivan's account, it's while she's upstairs resting that she hears Lizzie start screaming from downstairs. Maggie, come quick. Father's dead. Someone came in and killed him. Sullivan comes racing down and sees that Mr. Borden was killed while laying on the couch for his nap with approximately 10 strikes from a hatchet, one of which completely split his eyeball in half. Okay.
Sorry, my gag reflex. Excuse me.
So this is all super sus, right?
Very.
Soup's sus. After circling around a couple of different stories, Lizzie settled on telling authorities that she was in the barn that was on the property and had run into the house when she heard some kind of noise. Again, this is the theory she sort of settled on. She had also told police a story that she was in the barn at the time of the murders, had not heard anything, and only realized something was wrong when she actually got inside the house. The police were later criticized for their complete lack of thorough investigation the day of the murders. Pretty much they felt bad for the Borden family. They knew they had been ill, and they chose to leave them alone to rest and heal the day and night of the murders.
If it's anything like nowadays, if you hear someone sick, you're like, please, as much time as you need. Stay back.
Put your mask on. Stay back.
Put your mask on. Get away from me. I don't need to know the details. Thank you. Bye.
Very, very excellent points. Even Morse, the uncle, he returned to the home that night and slept in a separate guest room while Lizzie and Emma also stayed in the house that night. Even more than that, a friend of Lizzie's and Emma's, Alice Russell, came and stayed the night in the house with them that evening. Why are so many people staying in this murder house the day of the murders?
Yeah.
Oh.
It isn't until August 6th, so 2 days after the murders, that the police finally returned to the house and actually conduct a true investigation. They found in the basement of the house a hatchet head with a broken handle. They confiscated this, believing it could very well be the murder weapon. It's at this time that Lizzie is also told by the police that she is officially a suspect in the murder of her parents. The day after Lizzie was told that she's a suspect, Alice Russell, the friend of Lizzie's and Emma's that I just mentioned a moment ago, she was headed into the kitchen of the home when she sees Lizzie tearing a dress apart. Oh. So she's like, Lizzie, WTF. Those were quote unquote.
Yeah,
historically accurate. Yes.
Yeah. Historically accurate quote. Lizzie tells her that the dress has paint on it and she intends to throw the dress on a fire later. So, like, really, WTF.
This is the part where I'm like, okay, she's guilty. Like, that's the part where I'm like, okay, I could see mixing up your story. I could see not keeping that kind of stuff straight. You're burning a dress.
Yeah, exactly. So on August 8th, Alice stated she did officially witness Lizzie burning that exact dress in the kitchen stove.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Seems like some sloppy covering your tracks, though. So you know people are in there? Yes.
So sloppy.
Yes.
So there was a hearing on August 8th of 1892. That would have been a long wait for a hearing.
The court system is really backed up, guys.
So that trial officially sealed Lizzie's fate. The police and attorneys interrogated her, and she provided conflicting account after conflicting account. The media was all over this. They later published a 3-page article about it in the Boston Globe. Lizzie had officially become the premier suspect. And a trial date was set to start on June 5th, 1893. The prosecution obviously had some heavy evidence to support their theory of Liz. Stop laughing at me.
You're so funny. It's a compliment.
All right. The prosecution had some evidence to support their theory of Lizzie's guilt, but the defense fought back pretty hard. Neither side was ever able to prove whether the hatchet head had indeed been the murder weapon, and there were even some witnesses that testified of indeed seeing Lizzie in the barn on the property at what would have been the same time as the murders. Eyewitness testimony is not reliable. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah, we talked about that in a couple of episodes.
Mm-hmm. So not necessarily relevant, but we're going to talk about it anyways. We have to throw it in here because it is so crazy. So during the autopsies of Mr. and Mrs. Borden, their heads were removed.
Oh, God.
And then brought into the courtroom as evidence.
Oh, yikes.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? I don't think anyone would be surprised to hear that Lizzie fainted upon seeing them. Hatchet-wielding madwoman or not, seeing my dad's decapitated head would make me pass the F out.
Yes, that would give me pause as well.
That would give me pause.
So on June 20th, 1893, so about 2 weeks into the trial, the jury deliberated for close to an hour and a half before determining that Lizzie was not guilty of her parents' murders. There's a newspaper clipping that we have uploaded delivering this news to the public. Does one of you want to read it?
Yes, I have it. Let me share it. And then Kina, if you want to read it. Can you see it?
Not guilty. Lizzie Andrew Borden acquitted of the awful charge of murdering her father and stepmother. So say 12 good men and true.
Then there's some subtext.
We need to go back to like newspapers that were just like
12 good men and true.
Yes, very dramatic.
Yeah. So why Lizzie was acquitted is still personally a little flabbergasting.
Yeah.
To me, and I think to Rachel and to many.
Yes.
But one thing to keep in mind is that much of her back and forth testimony was not actually admissible in court. So all those statements she made about, was she inside? Was she out in the barn? That wasn't part of the court hearing.
Yeah.
Things like her attempting to purchase poison shortly before the murders was not admissible in court, as the judge determined it wasn't relevant somehow.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So by the time Lizzie got to trial, she and her attorneys had settled on a consistent story that she had been in the barn at the time of the murders. And this is the story that the jurors heard, straightforward. They stuck to it. They didn't deviate from it at all.
Yeah.
We can also speculate that, especially 100 years ago, 12 men sitting on a jury do not want to believe that a well-raised Christian girl had anything to do with the murders of her parents or anyone for that matter.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Right. So what happened to Lizzie following the trial? Well, Lizzie and Emma became soups wealthy following their parents' death. Mr. Borden's, interesting. Have you guys seen that? Well, of course you've seen it. It's the TikTok trend, the don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
That's all of this. Can one of you create a TikTok that's like just pictures of Lizzie Borden over and over? Don't be suspicious.
I am on it.
Please. I would love it so much.
Yeah, I don't post, I only follow.
I love it. So Mr. Borden's fortune was supposed to pass to their stepmom, Abby Borden, should anything ever happen to him. But because they had both died, this fortune passed on to Lizzie and Emma instead. They used this fortune to purchase a huge home, one that Lizzie called Maplecroft, that had a full staff of maids and housekeepers. This really bothered townspeople because the Borden girls would often flaunt the wealth that they had acquired after the deaths of their parents. They stayed in town, and Lizzie was ostracized by the community for the rest of her life, which is no surprise, really.
Yeah.
Townspeople wanted nothing to do with her. The first church service that she attended after her acquittal, not a single person sat near her. It was kind of like COVID times. People kept their 6 feet of distance. For years following the acquittal, children in the town would throw rocks and eggs at her house. Aww. And her grave has been vandalized over and over throughout the years. That's Speaking, sad. Yeah, no, I know that's totally sad. Yeah. Disrespecting the dead. That's really awful. Speaking of Maplecroft, though, and we did talk about this kind of at the top of the episode, Lizzie and Emma would have likely lived in this home together for the rest of their lives if Lizzie hadn't done something to piss Emma off. In 1905, Lizzie threw a party for an actress named Nace O'Neill. Emma did not approve of this party and moved out of the house immediately following it. The two sisters would never speak again. That is really sad to me.
What happened to that party?
Well, okay. So here is pretty much like the biggest, most major, most controversial theory about Lizzie. There has been speculation for years that Lizzie may have been a lesbian. Mm-hmm. Some have used this to explain why she killed her parents. Perhaps they caught onto her secret and she was so upset about it and figured killing them was the only way she could escape them. This is also the same theory used to explain why Emma was so upset with Lizzie for throwing the party for that actress. There's speculation that Lizzie and actress Nace O'Neill were involved in a sexual relationship, and Emma disapproved so strongly that she moved out of the house and never spoke to her sister again. So what evidence is there to support that Lizzie was a lesbian? Zero. Other than the fact that she never married, but that's not evidence. No one ever reported seeing her or suspecting that she had any kind of homosexual relationships. In fact, this theory only surfaced in the 1980s, when author Ed McBain announced his theory in the book he wrote about the Borden murders called Lizzie.
So let's go back to bringing up that August 4th, 1892 day and how it was not the hottest day of the year, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why is that important?
Yeah, why?
Well, I'll tell you. It has long been reported that August 4th, 1892 was 100 degrees because, well, this theory supported the prosecutor's theory. They stated that there was no way that Lizzie could have been in the barn at the time of the murders because the heat simply would not have allowed it. She would have passed out. She would have been too hot. Later, conspiracy theorists have suspected that perhaps Sullivan, the housemaid, had been responsible for the murders because she was pissed off that she had been expected to continue on with household chores, even though she was still sick from the mutton sweats or whatever. or whatever it was. Hashtag mutton sweats.
That is so gross. I hope there are no other images under hashtag mutton sweats.
Oh my God.
Gross. Put that on merch.
Yeah. Feel
it.
Free, please.
Yeah.
You can copyright that. And to be honest, I'd be pissed about it too. If someone was making me work when I was sick, like truly ill, I'd be pissed.
And when it's 100 plus degrees or whatever.
Yeah. But let the record show that it was only historically about 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Like historical records show this.
Yeah.
And if you're from Sacramento, like Rachel and I, 83 degrees is a gift from God in the middle of our usual 100-degree weather in August. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah.
Leah's already mentioned this. Her birthday's on August 4th, which was the day of the murders. I'm pretty sure every single one of Leah's birthdays has been at least 112 degrees every year. Yeah, at a minimum.
Yay, living in deserts.
Yay. So Lizzie did come back up in the media about 5 years later for shoplifting.
Ooh.
Yeah, you heard that right. Much like Winona, this filthy rich lady got caught shoplifting. Not related, but we just wanted to share it.
Yeah, it's such an insane detail.
Yeah. So on June 1st, 1927, Lizzie died from pneumonia at the age of 66. It will come as no surprise that her death was not publicized in the paper and very few people attended her funeral. Even though Lizzie and Emma had not spoken in years, it is kind of eerie that Emma died only 8 days after her sister from kidney disease.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, some kind of connection there.
Right.
The sisters, neither of whom had ever married, were buried side by side in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Aww.
So, yeah. So the home where Mr. and Mrs. Borden died has been converted into a bed and breakfast. Where
I don't love that. Just a little.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You can visit, but only the brave of heart can also stay the night. To stay the night in the room where Mrs. Borden was hacked to death will cost you $300 per night.
Oh, wow.
In Fall River, Massachusetts. I could see a room like that in like New York or Los Angeles being $300.
Right. Now, if that's something that you're interested in, you might also want to check out Maplecroft, the home that Lizzie purchased following her parents' death, because, like we talked about, it is currently for sale for only $890,000.
I need it. Gimme.
Yeah, I know. Now, at first, that number sounded kind of outrageous to me, but that $890,000 gets you 3,935 square feet, 7 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and is entirely furnished with period appropriate pieces. I mean,
no brainer.
No brainer. All right, let's get all our history podcast buddies together. We're all going in on this.
The price is so good. I actually, before COVID times, I was trying to buy a bed and breakfast. It's a historic building here in Seguin, and things were actually moving, and I was about to get it, and then COVID hit, and then nobody's giving hospitality loans anymore. Yeah. But that one, it was $700,000. And it was only 4 bedrooms.
Okay.
And like 2 bathrooms.
In Texas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in California, I mean, $890 will get you like a really nice, kind of large 4 to 5 bedroom house, maybe. You know, that like it'll be on the upper end of things, but so for $890 to get that much space and everything.
And it's a historic location for like not a great reason, but it's historic. And also, at least it's not the house that the murders occurred, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
yes.
That's the biggest thing is like the realtors must have to put in like asterisks at the bottom, like this is not the murder house. Now, to wrap this whole thing up, although it's pretty clear to me that Lizzie was responsible for the deaths of her parents, I think I should mention the few holes in the theory that even I can see. When police arrived at the scene, there was no blood splatter. That was so hard to say. Sorry, guys. They apparently arrived very shortly after the murders occurred, and Lizzie had no blood on her. So there is the matter of how did she change out of her clothes so quickly, assuming she was the killer and assuming the dress that she burned in the kitchen stove days later did indeed have blood on it. There's also a lot of speculation about John Morse, Lizzie's uncle. This random uncle that randomly appears the very night before the murders and is coincidentally out of the house, away on business at the very moment that his family is being hacked to death. That's a bit suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. But also, like, why is his last name Morse if he's somehow related? Is he not actually blood related to them?
I actually don't know. I had thought maybe he was related on the other side. Hold on.
The other side, the wife. I said brother, but I realized that was just an assumption I made. That might not have been right.
I'm doing a quick Google, and yeah, he was the brother to Lizzie's original mother.
Oh,
got it.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Now, finally, it's worth mentioning that there actually was another axe murderer, because that's a thing, in Fall River, Massachusetts, just days before Lizzie's trial began.
Oh.
But the man convicted of that murder was ruled out as being involved in the Borden homicide, as it was proven that he was not in Fall River at that time.
Oh, okay.
So one final weird yet interesting thing anybody who is a fan of dance or ballet may like to know, really weird side tangent. In 1948, the American Ballet Theater premiered at the Metropolitan Opera House a brand new ballet by the name of Fall River Legend, which retells the story of the Borden murders, except this time Lizzie is found guilty.
Ooh.
So we actually have a couple pictures of the ballet, and I'd like us all to stare and gawk at this weird moment in entertainment, like history.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. So the first picture is very small, and then I have one other picture to show you.
So you could see it's like a ballet dancer, and she's wearing a white dress, and she has blood on the front of her. And then there's another ballet dancer, beautiful pose, and then there's a hatchet or an axe dug into a stump in front of her. So that's kind of disturbing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I know a lot of people, including us, obviously have a weird interest in murders, true crime, and dark histories, but I wouldn't choreograph a whole fucking ballet about a gruesome murder spree. Like, that's a little weird.
So weird.
That would not be in my first thought of what to do with this whole situation.
Right. Like, write a book. Don't choreograph a ballet.
Just write a book. Is it weirder? Like the people that go see it, would you ever go watch it? I feel like I would go watch it.
Oh, absolutely. I'd go watch it. It's so weird. Like, you have to.
Yeah.
So what this ballet shows is that Lizzie Borden and her story has forever fascinated society, inspiring such things as ballets, TV series, and even a creepy and historically inaccurate nursery rhyme.
Oh, yes. I did watch that Christina Ricci.
Did you like it?
I don't think I even finished it.
Yeah.
But I watched some of it.
I know Rachel said she wasn't a fan. It was too historically inaccurate, right?
Yeah, I'm one of those people that are super lame, and I'm like, this isn't what really happened.
Yeah, same. Like, some things I think is fine. Like The Great, like even in the beginning, they're like sometimes
so
accurate, but like it was funny. But like they tried too hard to make it accurate, and it's not.
Yeah. Like, when the Christina Ricci, or how do you say her last name? Ricci? What doesn't she?
I think it's Ricci technically, but I've
heard
people call her
Adams.
Miss Wednesday Adams. That one does develop the whole storyline about her being a lesbian a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's another. Wasn't there like a Kristen Stewart movie where it's her and her affair with the maid or something?
A Lizzie Borden movie?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I haven't seen this one.
I hadn't heard of that.
Let me Google.
Yeah, please do a goog.
To the googs.
To the googs. I can't tell if this is Laura Roberts that's made comments on here is from a tap on the wrist, but if so, Laura, you're so sweet for being here, because I just watched Laura go live like an hour ago making a gin cocktail, and she killed it. She was awesome.
Oh, I wanted to watch that.
I would never make it, pretty much, because she had to shake it for like 14 minutes. Yeah.
I shook my cocktail. Oh, I didn't shake for 14 minutes, though. It was like 2 seconds.
Yes, I was right. Okay, so Kristen Stewart is playing the maid, Bridget. Oh. Is that her name? Oh, and then Lizzie Borden is that Chloe 70?
I don't know who that. Do you have a picture of her right there?
Yes. Oh, she's from American Horror Story, I think.
That is not a great picture.
It's not. Let's see if there's more.
It's a side profile, and I really can't tell. Sorry.
Yeah, it is not a good picture. You are correct. Okay.
Well, cool. I feel like I'm gonna have to check that out now. I had no idea.
Well, all of them are like them about to kiss. They're really
they're all
lesbian thing.
Out.
Yeah.
But still,
I'm
very interested. Okay. I'm super interested.
2018. I must have missed this one.
Totally. It's so interesting. Kristen Stewart is very hot on the indie scene. So if it's an indie movie,
yeah. Well, she's about to be Princess Diana, and I do not know how I feel about that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. She got casted for a new Diana thing.
I'm gonna protest.
Yeah, I just don't know how I feel about that. Like her acting style.
You know who was really good at being Princess Diana is oh shoot, what's her name? She was in the Happening too. What's her name? Naomi?
Is it? Oh, okay.
Is it I haven't watched it yet. Is it I'm sorry, I'm gonna like really embarrass myself by not knowing what this is, but the show about Queen Elizabeth II.
Oh,
the show that's The Crown, thank you. This season has Princess Diana's story in it, right? So I haven't watched The Crown at all, but I plan to watch this season because I've seen pictures like side by sides that they've done of the gal playing Princess Diana. I'm like, she's pretty spot on in the picture.
It's good.
Is it
really good? I haven't watched this season yet, but yeah, I've seen her. And here's Naomi Watts playing Diana, and I feel like she really looks like her.
I agree. I saw it just before it shifted. She totally looks like her.
They like have the side by side, but I just don't see it. I mean, I guess like that.
We don't like it. We're protesting.
No, we don't like it. It's called Spencer. Is the movie? I don't know. The critical weekend in the early 90s when Diana decided her marriage to Prince Charles wasn't working. Okay.
I mean, day 3 into the
day 3 into the like meeting each other.
I know.
God, we could literally talk about Princess Diana for 100 years. I'm here for all of it. I know.
Love her so much.
I'm here for all of it.
Yes.
Except for the Kristen Stewart part.
Yeah. That'll be a no for me. No thanks, guys.
We have a commenter saying that I think she watched it, Amber, and then she said it was an okay movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, good to know. I still feel like I'll probably watch it. I mean, what else am I doing, right? Yeah.
I know, right?
What else we got going on? Literally nothing.
Now that I finished The Crown, I have nothing else to watch. I binged it so fast. Now I'm just like
I'm a couple seasons behind. Yeah,
how many
seasons behind?
How many seasons are there?
This was
the 4th. Yeah, the 4th just got released. So.
Okay. Is the whole season up there? All of the 4th?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never watched any of it.
Like,
you're right.
Yeah, they just do drops on Netflix, and I enjoy that.
Yes.
Like The Mandalorian, having to wait every freaking week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Rachel doesn't know what you're talking about. I am with you though.
I know. I have my little guy with me. He's fine.
Oh,
the child.
So
yeah.
The child.
All right. Do you guys need a break? Or are you ready to get spooky?
I would actually run to the restroom.
And I was going to say, I wouldn't mind refilling my wine glass.
Okay.
So, okay.
No worries.
Right back.
Oh, hi, puppy. The puppy has joined me. Oh, yeah. The Crown was really good. I really liked this season. I think I've seen a lot of reviews that say that this is the first time somebody's really gotten Diana right. And I agree. I enjoyed it. It really just showed a whole new generation that Prince Charles sucks. Murray, you want to come here? You want to come here? No, he does not want to come up. He had a bath today, so he is not happy. How's everybody doing today? Murray dog. Yeah, he's. Oh, my office is so dirty, but don't mind all that. I've been cutting out things, and there's paper everywhere.
I'm back.
Hello.
Hello.
Puppy.
Was there a puppy?
Come here, puppy.
Oh, you're right about him having, did you say Yoda ears?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Me.
He kind of looks like he might be a mix of a short hair pointer. Have you ever heard of that breed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have friends that have short hair pointers, and he kind of looks.
He is so cute.
He's chilling, no big deal.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yes, this is Murray Dog.
Oh.
Don't make me flash the internet, buddy. Okay.
I know. I literally, like, I don't know if you guys noticed how I sat back down in my seat, but I'm wearing like little shorts because I mean quarantine. And so I was back into my seat. And now I just have my tortilla blanket covering up.
Oh, I need one of those.
I got it as a white elephant thing and I fought hard for it. I fought hard. I did. True story.
So I see you've moved on to white wine, Rachel.
It's white with some red in it because I didn't clean the glass.
So it's like DIY rosé. Okay.
Yeah. It's a little best of both worlds thing going on.
Oh, that's amazing. All right. Okay. Get comfortable.
Yes.
I'm excited for whatever spooky story you're going to tell and how it would be any kind of a palate cleanser.
Don't get me wrong. A lot of people still die.
Oh, whew, okay.
Oh, relief. Okay.
Thank God there's still murder.
I think it's really difficult to talk about like outlaws and criminals without just so much death. But
yeah,
it did a little different turn here. So we're going to start out in Fort Smith, Arkansas, back in my home state, close to where I lived.
Love it. So not Massachusetts.
So not Massachusetts. We're moving away. And you probably didn't know this because a lot of people don't, but this was actually known as the gateway to the Old West. Did you know that?
No.
I feel like I've heard that saying before, but I didn't know where it applied to.
I feel like I have to redeem Arkansas. I was a guest on the Otter Limits podcast, and they do like a state every month or something. So for the Arkansas one, I came on there, and it was just like everything I said about Arkansas came out really bad. It was like all the horrible things that's happened in the state, because like Little Rock 9, like the West Memphis 3, and I mean a lot of really shitty things.
And Bill Clinton potentially raping women.
Yeah. Oh, there's the puppies.
Is it 8:00? Oh no, it's 6:10. Oh wait, is it 8 for you?
Yeah, it is 8.
Oh, okay. I was like, no, it's only 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, St. Louis has the Arch, which was the gateway to like the West as well. Why can't I talk today? But this was like the Wild West.
Got it.
It was the gateway to Indian Territory. So for context, Fort Smith is the second largest city in Arkansas, right behind Little Rock, with a whopping 87,891 humans.
Oh my God. There's that many people like literally in my neighborhood.
I know. I figured all this is going to blow your mind. So for funsies, I looked up the population of every city I've lived in.
Oh, I love this.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah. Yes. Tell me how many were in the city that you grew up in.
Yes, the one I was born in is number 32 in the state with 12,569 people.
Do you know off the top of your head, Leah, Sacramento population?
I'll pull it up. Yeah.
I just pulled it up too, but go ahead.
No, you go. If you already have it up, I don't.
Over 500,000.
And that's probably is that just the city of Sacramento? Because Sacramento is actually a metropolis, which is like, I technically don't live in the city of Sacramento. You technically don't live in the city of Sacramento. So there's like multiple suburbs that make up.
Good point. Let me see if I can find more of like a county of excuse my prior facts. The county of Sacramento, which is where Leah and I live, there's 1.5 million people. So excuse me.
The town I went to high school in, 536.
No.
The town I lived in,
my high school graduating class was like 800 students.
Yeah, I know this blows people's minds. The town I actually grew up in was 460.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, high school graduations here are like you truthfully, it's an 8-hour long graduation.
Oh, ours was like 30 minutes, and we had a rose ceremony. We gave our parents roses. We had a balloon drop. We did a candlelight ceremony, and we were out.
No,
I even presented all our scholarships.
Leah, being an event coordinator, I know you can speak to this more, but aren't like the speeches are like, you have a minute and a half, let's go. Like,
so I literally plan the commencement ceremonies for our university here in Sacramento. That's my job. And yes, they have 2 minutes, except for those ceremonies where we have to combine 2 colleges into one ceremony because they get 1 minute each and their deans have 1 minute to introduce them. The president has exactly 15 minutes to speak, no more, no less. We time it. It's 3 seconds per graduate for them to cross the stage. We time it. 3 seconds per graduate to cross the stage. 1.5 seconds for them to walk in. That's the whole line. So it's like 9,000 graduates times 1.5. And yes, you heard that right. 9,000 graduates.
That's
sorry.
Love it.
I could go on.
Insane.
I love it.
I just want to comment on what Michelle just said. She grew up in California too and was homeschooled, and so her graduating class was 6 people. I also grew up in California. I was also homeschooled. My graduating class was also 6 people. So even though I'm telling all these stories, like I was homeschooled and had a very, very, very small graduating party or graduating class, I mean. But all of my friends that I went to their graduations, it was almost 1,000 students graduating, even from like a middle school. Like a middle school graduation would be an 8-hour affair.
That's wild. Well, I graduated with 28 people, so it was very simple.
Our university last year 9,000 graduates. 9,500 actually
for 1 year.
In 1 year.
Woo! That's so many people.
I know university is different though. That's
we have a lot of people here versus the story you're telling, Kina.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, the town I went to undergrad has 67,000 people in it. And then the town I went to graduate school in has 197,000. So that's the biggest in Arkansas, Little Rock.
Oh my gosh.
But that's it. Yeah. 197, 312. That's it.
Wow. Wow.
The whole state. It's great.
I can't even imagine it. Honestly, I'm trying.
Yeah, it's wild to grow up in such a small place. Like now, I'm right smack in between Austin and San Antonio, so it's fantastic. There's like things and stuffs to do.
Yeah,
it's great. And I didn't use the name of any of the towns, so nobody would steal my information. But joke's on you! It's all student loan debt. So try to steal my identity. I'll take it with you. Anyway,
love it.
It's located on the Arkansas-Oklahoma border, and it was occupied for thousands of years by the indigenous peoples of that area, and they used it for transportation and fishing and waters. And then the Europeans busted up in the Americas like the Kool-Aid Man and started, claiming the area for France because, that's what they did.
That's what they do.
Yes. And a lot of other stuff happened, but we're not going to talk about that. So we're going to fast forward to the 19th century when she became part of the Louisiana Purchase.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. And then in 1817, Fort Smith was established as a Western frontier military post. So now we're in the relevant stuff.
Okay.
Old Wild West. The fort was named after General Thomas Adams Smith, who commanded the United States Army Rifle Regiment in 1817. And he's either too cool or ungrateful because he never wanted to visit his namesake town, which I cannot say. If I had a town named after me, you would have to make me leave.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then I'd also want a holiday too. I don't know why, but it just seems like if you have a town, you should have a holiday. Why not?
Totally. People would appreciate you if it's a day they could get off of work.
It's true.
Like, God, I love Kina Day so much.
Yes.
Especially when it falls on like a Wednesday, right in the middle of the week when you have that good one day off. So nice.
Oh, those are the best. So a small settlement town began forming in the area around the fort, but then it was abandoned and they moved 80 miles further west to Fort Gibson, womp womp. But then, due to the strategic location of its site, the federal government reestablished a military presence at Fort Smith during the 1830s because of the Indian Removal Act. Such a really sad part of our history. And this was because it was the best way for them to remove the Indians and put them in Indian territory, Trail of Tears, which cuts straight through Arkansas, and it's devastating. So if you're ever in Arkansas, you'll see the signs. They have signs marking the entire trail all through the state. It's really depressing. And that's also why Arkansas has a lot of natives, because a lot of people escaped. So I know my great-great-grandmother escaped. And a lot of them hid in the Ozarks because nobody wanted to go there.
Right.
It's rocky and disgusting.
That is neat that there are all those markers and stuff there, though.
Yeah, it's you can do the whole trail, I think. Like most of it, driving, but that's really.
I hope that people don't. I mean, I'm sure that there are people that do for historical reasons, but I'm also like, that's dark. That's really dark.
Really dark, yeah. But I'm glad they acknowledge it.
Absolutely.
So where I'm from, like driving from the town that has the only Walmart in the whole area to like the house that I grew up in, you drive by one of the big markers. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And so all of this to say is that this became a base for migrants settling the Wild West, and it became the gateway to the West. And it was also known as a law enforcement heritage site. And sorry, I heard Zeke drop something, and and it also had Hell on the Border Jail and the hanging judge Isaac C. Parker. Have you ever heard of him, the hanging judge?
No.
Ooh, we're gonna learn about him.
I'm excited.
This guy served as the federal judge for the federal court of the Western District of Arkansas in Fort Smith. So a big mouthful. And he got this fun nickname because he tried 13,490 cases, with 9,454 of them resulting in a guilty plea or convictions.
Wow.
He was a busy man.
No
What's the percentage
kidding.
there?
Yeah, what is that percentage? That percentage is like 80-something%, right?
Yeah. It's very
someone in the chat group do quick math.
I don't math, so I don't want to. I could do that real quick.
Oh, you don't have to. I was just.
Well, now I'm curious.
That's just an insane caseload. 13,000 plus cases.
Yeah.
It's probably like, come on in. What'd you do? Yeah? Okay, you're guilty.
70%. Yeah.
Come on in. You? What'd you do? Okay, you're guilty.
Yeah, 70%.
70. Whoa. Okay, my math was off.
Yeah, that's a little. Why we're historians. We don't do math.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And his court was also unique in the fact that he had jurisdiction over all of the Indian Territory, covering over 74,000 square miles. That's a large amount.
Oh, yeah. That's insane.
He sentenced 160 people to death, including 4 women.
Wow.
None of which were Lizzie Borden.
None of them were Lizzie Borden. I was thinking that the whole time you were talking about it. And I'm like, well, he had no problem killing women. The first one I read was, unfortunately, a Black woman that killed her boyfriend. And I think it was like a domestic violence situation. It was really unfortunate. But like there was witnesses that blamed her and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not great.
Wow. That's crazy. He sounds so fascinating.
Yeah. And of those sentenced to death under Parker, 79 men were executed on the gallows, which are still there.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to look at them in a second.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's morbid.
Yes, it is. Morbid curiosity. That's got a case of the morbs. I think that's what they're calling it.
The morbies.
The morbies.
You go to the doctor, you're like, I think I have the morbies. I do. I really think I do.
So we're going to do a little historical detour on old Judge Parker. He was born on October 15th, 1838 in Barnesville, Ohio.
Okay.
At 17, he casually decided that he was going to study law. I didn't figure out my current career path until I was 30. So I just...
Oh, yeah. Right.
Good for you, dude.
Yeah.
He became an apprentice working under a Barnesville lawyer and studied on his own, passing the bar in 1859. So he didn't really go to school. He just studied and did it on his own. So
Isn't that crazy? I feel like we had someone on one of our episodes that did that. And I was like,
that's how it used to work. Yeah. That's how it used to work. And actually, there's still, I believe it's 3 states, and California is one of them, that you can not go to law school and still take the bar. But there are like certain restrictions. You have to be like mentored by an attorney for a certain amount of years, and they have to submit.
Oh, and that's what wasn't Kim
that's
Kardashian?
Kim Kardashian
doing
yeah,
that?
that's what she's doing because she has lawyer friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Lawyering never seemed that fun to me. It just seemed I'm too much of a bleeding heart. I would never be able
I guess, and I feel awkward over here working as a full-time paralegal. So
I would just be terrible at it. Be like, I'm innocent. I believe you.
No,
like,
and I'm like, if I could afford law school, I would have done that instead of getting my paralegal certification. So
so he began his legal career with his uncle, D.E. Shannon, back in the day where everybody just had abbreviations for names, in St. Joseph, Missouri, and at the Shannon and Branch Law Firm. And by 1861, he was operating on his own. So that's really a fast launch into a career.
Right, yeah.
How many years was that? Because
I mean, he passed the bar in 59 and started his own business in 1861.
Okay, so 2 years. Cool.
Yeah, that's
what have I done in the last 2 years? Nothing.
Samesies. It's fine. I started a podcast. That's all I got going.
Yeah, I guess that's what I've done in the last 2 years. Sure.
Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah, it's fine. And it was during this time that he met his wife, Mary O'Toole, and they married on December 12th, 1861. He won election as a city attorney on the Democratic ticket in 1861, but he'd only been in office a few days when the Civil War broke out. Another womp. So he kind of had to reevaluate his life, and he decided to enlist in the 61st Missouri Emergency Regiment, a home guard unit for the Union forces.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
After the war, he ran for county prosecutor. He served as a member of the Electoral College that voted for Lincoln, and then he served 2 terms in the U.S. Congress. So he's doing a lot. He's making me feel really bad about my life.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big political career going on there that I can't
and also like service to his country as well.
Right. Yeah. There's
and
that
now
too.
Plot twist. I'm going to make you like him. Because I didn't know all this. Because even Arkansas history books, it's like, oh, he killed all these people and blah, blah, blah. And then I started researching this and it's like, holy shit, he is a cool dude. So while he was in Congress, he passed several things to protect veterans. He sponsored legislation that would have given women the right to vote and hold public office.
In the mid 1800s.
Yes, right after
mid to late 1800s. Wow.
Yeah. That's insane. And it was during his second term that his speeches supported the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And this received national attention because he put in a lot of effort into Indian policy to ensure that they had fair treatment of the tribes that were living in the Indian Territory.
Wow.
Like nobody was doing that.
So what don't we like about him?
That he killed a lot of people.
Yeah, well, you get to that. It's just like a legend that is kind of made him into this thing that he's not. So
yeah,
by the end of this, you're gonna love him.
I'm excited.
I got you, Parker. I got you. And it was after the second term in Congress that he began to seek a presidential appointment as a judge of the Western District of Arkansas and Fort Smith. And on March 18th, 1875, President Ulysses S. Grant appointed him to this position. He arrived in Fort Smith on May 4th, 1875, and he held court for the first time on May 10th. So he got right to work.
My God.
He wastes no time.
No kidding.
Like the day things in. He's like, all right, let's go. During his first term, he found 8 men guilty of murder. 6 died on September 3rd.
Oh.
Starts in May. It's already starting to, get the gallows out.
Wowza.
Parker's court was supposed to hold 4 terms each year. So in February, May, August, and November. But the caseload for the court was so large that the 4 terms ran together, and he held court 6 days a week, each day lasting up to 10 hours.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So he worked hard.
He did. And fun fact, even though most of the judge's deputy marshals in the country were white, he was unique for his time that he employed deputies that were African American and Native American.
Okay, this guy sounds pretty cool.
I love him.
Wow.
And it's also a huge, like, under-known fact that a lot of the cowboys of the Old West were actually African American. So it makes sense that he would want people, in Indian territory to be Native American and also, African American cowboys. So
wow, very cool.
I dig this dude. In 1883, Congress made cuts to his jurisdiction. All these words are so big.
And you're the only one not drinking.
I know. That's the problem. They come out better when I'm drinking.
Yes.
In 1883, Congress made cuts to his jurisdiction, and the portions that he was over before was given to Texas and Kansas because they wanted to kind of relieve his workload.
Yeah.
But because people were still pouring into the West and the crime rate was increasing because all the people were, doing all the murdering and the shit, he was still hanging people. So it didn't really help him. He's often called the hanging judge, and he's called this even in history books, on TV, anything you hear about Parker, it's always hanging judge Isaac Parker. But in his defense, at the time, capital offenses of rape and murder were punished by death. And this is the Wild West where people are raping and murdering.
Yeah,
so it really wasn't up to him. It was, and he even said, it's not up for the judge to decide guilt. So the jury did it. And because it was capital offense, he didn't even have a choice. Be like,
yeah,
sorry, dude, you're dead. So it really wasn't his fault. Poor Parker.
Poor Parker.
And one of the most persistent myths about the judge is when ending a death sentence, he would repeat the word dead 3 times. And if you read some of the death sentences that were actually transcribed, he never said that, but it's like,
wow,
dead. But he was just doing got a really bad rap for it.
Wow.
In an interview published on September 1st, 1896 in the St. Louis Republic, Parker is quoted saying, quote, "I never hung a man. It's the law." So
yeah, I mean,
it's true.
Right.
In fact, he was against capital punishment, adding, quote, "I favor the abolition of capital punishment too, provided that there is certainty of punishment, whatever that punishment may be. In the uncertainty of punishment following crime lies the weakness of our halting crimes." So,
wow. This sounds like a really stand-up guy.
He was so ahead of his times.
Yeah.
Very ahead of his time. Wow.
A lot of these platforms that he's doing are things that we're still talking about now.
Oh, absolutely. 150 years later.
Yeah. His court did have some street cred, though. He sentenced some of the most notorious outlaws to hang. Outlaws like Cherokee Bill, Colorado Bill, and Rufus Buck Gang.
Lots of bills.
Lots of bills. Yeah. They were very, or not very unique in their names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone was Bill or Jack, right?
Yeah, it's true. So where was all this hanging happening? I'm gonna tell you. First off, located in the basement of the old Fort Smith Barracks was the Hell on the Border jail, where inmates awaited trial or execution. As many as 150 men could be crammed into 2 large cells at one time.
Oh, wow.
It was not great. Guards explained the accompanying sign, quote, "filled the ceiling space with sawdust in an effort to keep the stench of unbathed prisoners and slop buckets from wafting into the courtroom." Ugh.
Wow.
And they even had like a communal urine trough. Like, so
oh my God, that's so horrible.
Let me show you a picture.
Okay. Oh, there's pictures. Okay.
I can't wait.
Hell's Border. Okay, here's just. So yeah, 150 people in these rooms.
Oh my God, especially now during COVID times, I'm like, God, no.
Yes. Just very not a lot going on in there, and very and that would be like solitary. But yeah, it's
wow.
A really
communal urine trough.
I mean, is there even sitting room? Like 150 people in rooms that small? I feel like it's mostly people are just standing because there's not room.
I would imagine, yeah, there'd be no room. You'd just be kind of like sardined in there, probably holding each other up. But,
oh God,
yikes!
But because the conditions were so horrible, our man Judge Parker lobbied for a more decent facility, which Congress finally authorized in 1886. The new jail, which still stands, what we kind of saw, was constructed as a wing on the original barracks building. So this is slightly bigger than what it was before, but yeah.
Okay.
It's a good dude. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
You're still gonna die, but I can make the jail a little nicer for you.
Yeah, I guess
3 feet bigger for you. Yeah.
And from the jail is a short walk to the gallows, which were enclosed with a high modesty fence. The current gallows is a replica built in 1982, but is a faithful reproduction. And they did a lot of historic research to make sure it was the same. So let me show you that one.
I love this type of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Stop screen. Start screen. Okay.
So when were these built, or they were like reconstructed? Do you know?
The gallows 1982.
Okay.
Oh, here they are.
Okay.
I mean, I have a hard time saying like, oh my god, that's cool because it's
because
it's
but
gallows.
it's like 16 feet across, and then they would do several at a time.
I just find it so interesting that people used to watch people killed. So
yeah. Well, I mean, look at Roman times with like gladiators and stuff. They used to watch people get murdered. But what I do notice about those gallows though is they definitely are kind of more like you said, modest gallows. Like they're a little more enclosed than like the gallows you see I'm thinking of like Mary Surratt and all the other co-conspirators of Lincoln's assassination, which would have only been about 10 or so years before this, maybe 20 years before this, completely out in the open. Anyone that wanted to see it could see it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And this is a photo of what it looked like originally, so it's really spot on.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there are a ridiculous amount of people watching the.
They didn't have TV. They didn't have HBO Max. They did not have Netflix. Let's give it that.
Yeah, so I would say definitely what you just said, Leah. Like, unfortunately, that was maybe their source of entertainment. But I would say again to him, like the modesty of it is, although there are hundreds of people watching it, there's a high fence all the way around it. So, like, if you were not physically there, you couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was 16 feet long, so they would do 8 people at one time, and it would all go at the same when they pulled the lever. So
I guess if all of their family and whoever, if they murdered someone, the murderer's family of 8 people, that adds up to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like the people who want to see that, who are directly connected to it.
Good point.
For 8 cases, that adds up.
It does. So on September 1st, 1896, another act went into effect, removing the last of Parker's Indian Territory jurisdiction. When the August 1896 term began, he was too ill to preside. Reporters interviewing Parker about the end of his jurisdiction, they had to do so at his bedside.
Oh,
sad. And he died on November 17th, 1896 of numerous health problems, including the degeneration of his heart and Bright's disease. Which I know somebody else I talked about had that, and I've already forgotten what it is. So let me Google. I meant to do that, and I forgot. I think that's the
inflammation of the kidney.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh. Is it because he drank too much? No, that would be the liver.
Your liver, yeah.
Oh, yeah. A historical term not currently in use. So, kidney disease. Too much protein in the urine and stuff. So,
too much meat. Too much mutton. The mutton sweats.
Mutton sweats.
Yeah. Oh my God, gross.
He is buried in the Fort Smith National Cemetery, only blocks from where he once presided as judge. His courtroom is now in the Fort Smith National Historic Sites. Fun fact, Fort Smith National Historic Site includes the remains of 2 frontier forts, the Federal Court and the Western District of Arkansas. So let me show you his office.
I love this. It's almost like we're going to a museum and looking at stuff.
It's like a COVID museum. All online. Yeah.
All virtual, folks.
Which one was it? Forgot. Roadside America. Okay. I forget which tab. I have so many tabs open.
Oh, yeah. Always.
Okay, so that's him.
The
painting, and that's his desk.
Love it.
And this is a replica of one of the nooses.
Nieces?
Nice. Niece.
And this is a replica of the one he used on, oh crap, I forgot. It's somewhere on here. One of those bills.
One of the bills, the notorious bills.
And there's the outside of the courthouse.
Okay.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yes. So modern day visitors are encouraged to begin their tour of Fort Smith at the judge's old courtroom and jail. It's all restored to look exactly what it would have looked like in his, heyday. And they have his original furniture in the museum. You can buy replicas of his gavel at the gift shop, along with like deputy badges and imitation jail keys. So if anybody wants to send me a gavel in Arkansas,
totally. No, that sounds like something you very much need.
I know, right? Well, if I ever get to go visit my mom when COVID's over, I have to go to Fort Smith now. So I'm like, I'll just stop.
So you've never seen it, right?
No, I've not been there.
Very cool. Something to do.
Yeah. So I've been to Fort Smith once, but I didn't get to go there. So
cool.
Now for the spooky shit. Yay.
Yeah.
So with so much death around, it's no shocker that there's a lot of paranormal legends in Fort Smith. In the book Supernatural Arkansas by Alan Lowe and Jason Hall, they dive into some of the more common experiences people encounter. If you see this fly dive bombing me, that's why I'm swatting.
I know. I was like, oh, she's the ghost. She's talking about ghosts. It must be a ghost.
I was thinking the same thing. She's like batting away the bad spirits.
Yeah, Texas flies are so mean. They just repeatedly hit you in the face, and I don't understand what's happening. The last time I recorded, somebody's like, I finally saw the shadow go across your face. And I'm like, it's like Jaws. Like, dude.
Yeah,
it's going to get me. So we're going to start with a former employee that described her frightening experience at the former courtroom that Parker resided on. She was about to turn off all the lights in the courtroom when she heard voices behind her. As they became louder, she heard a loud slam of a gavel. She also noticed a mist spread around the courtroom, and she noticed voices were men yelling and women crying. I would have already yeeted myself out there, but she stayed because there's more.
See, that's what these stories, I'm always like, okay, you hear a child laughing, like, and there's no children around, get the F out of there. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Especially, like, I feel like all these stories are like you just said, Leah, like child laughing or hearing voices or whatever. Kina, you said mist. I don't know why that freaks me out more, but like if mist all of a sudden, like, nope, we're not going to be here.
Nope. And out of the mist, she saw a partial apparition of a man in dusty clothes being dragged away by two men with badges. So like 3 dudes appear and you're still not running.
My gosh.
And an extremely specific memory.
Very specific.
Wow.
And then she said she heard the gavel hit one more time and then the mist disappeared. So it seems that Judge Parker likes a dramatic exit, which I can appreciate.
It's a flair for the dramatics, yes.
Can relate. The Fort Smith Museum of History, which is the home of his original furniture, has a lot of spooky experiences too. A group of paranormal investigators placed recording near the old furniture, and Lisa Gremlick, I hope I'm saying that right, said, quote, I heard this on what they recorded. It was like 3 bangs like a gavel. It was hammering of a gavel. Very redundant there, Leah, but I see what you're saying. So a lot of gaveling in all these places.
Yeah. Which I would imagine he was doing a lot of that with his caseload.
I mean, which is like getting 50 cases a day or whatever it was.
Yeah, and the gallows.
How many cases a day was it? I feel like I underestimated it.
Well, they said it was 10 hours a day, and he did like 13,000 in total, so it'd have to be a lot.
Yeah, someone else did the math on that.
Yeah, I'm not.
Again, nobody listening.
And they say the gallows are also super haunted, but I was reading reviews of people being like, I've been there and I didn't see anything. But they say that the ropes move without any wind, but that could be literally anything. Sure. And then a lot of people say cameras will stop working and your batteries will drain if you're trying to take a picture of the gallows. So that's a little interesting.
That's very interesting.
And finally, there's a spooky cemetery because there's always a spooky cemetery.
Yeah, there has to be. I would have been disappointed in the story if there was not.
This story comes from a groundskeeper at the Fort Smith National Cemetery where Parker and his wife are now buried. Which, side note, if you are anywhere near Austin, I just heard from somebody that they are hiring groundskeepers and stuff at all their historic cemeteries there. So
that's a shout out to anyone and everyone but us.
Yeah, I don't have any skills for groundskeeping, but if I did.
Also at cemeteries, that's not my jam. No, thank you.
I asked her, I'm like, are they hiring a historian? She's like, no, that's my job, and I'm never quitting. Like,
oh my God.
Like, that's fair, honestly.
Sure, no, once you get a historian gig, you stay with it.
Yes. I applied for that job before I moved.
Did you really?
I was like, you lucky bitch. They're probably like, why are you still in Arkansas? No. Okay. So, anywho, going back to that Supernatural Arkansas book, it says, quote, on a cold December night, a 1998 groundskeeper had an experience that left him shaken to the core.
Oh, I'm really loving the way that you're introducing this. It actually is giving me goosebumps.
Yeah, I like it.
He was on his way to retrieve some tools as dusk approached. The author says this particular groundskeeper had worked in cemeteries for years and wasn't normally very fearful. However, this night he heard a strange noise that kept repeating. As it approached, he realized the noise was footsteps crunching in the crisp winter grass. So this is all a quote, by the way, from this book.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
The groundskeeper reported that he felt like he was being followed. As retrieving his tools, he turned the flashlight and swung around, and in the beam of the flashlight, there was an old man. The man stood there looking back at him. The man realized he could see through the other man, and he stood in front of him with white hair, a white beard, wearing an old black suit. And that's when the book says that the groundskeeper asked the man what he wanted, which would not be what I do again. You run.
These things never make sense to me.
That's like today's equivalent of being like, sup.
Sup, yeah. What's up, dude?
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
No. If I can see through a person, I'm not asking them, what's up?
No. Oh, he says at that time, the man started to move his mouth, but no sound was coming from his lips. That's extra creepy. See through and nothing coming. No. Finally, the groundskeeper yeeted out of there. He dropped his flashlight and sped away in his car. Which is the normal reaction. That's what you
That's the initial reaction that I would have.
Yes.
Initial reaction, yes.
There's all these extra steps none of these people needed. You just leave at the first one. Don't wait. No, thank you. The groundskeeper distinctly described the old man as Judge Parker based on the images he had seen of him during his many trips to the museum. So go to museum, guys, because then you might recognize the next ghost you see.
Yeah.
More reasons to do that.
Yeah.
So kind of Parker adjacent is the Clayton House in Fort Smith. It's a restored antebellum residence that was home to one of Fort Smith's most well-known historic figures, William Henry Harrison Clayton. Everybody has so many names.
Yeah, I thought that William Henry Harrison, and this was going to be a presidential themed thing, but okay.
No, Arkansas's only got Clinton.
Got it. Okay.
Yay. So Clayton was the prosecutor for the hanging judge Isaac Parker. During his years before Parker, he convicted 80 men of murder, a greater number than any other prosecutor in the United States.
Ooh, yikes. That's not a record I'd want.
No, 40 of those were executed at the gallows. So not great. And this house was also a Union Army hospital, so I'm sure a lot of people died there too.
Right.
The family home is now a museum, and there's a lot of reports of supernatural activity. So if you go through like most haunted places in Arkansas, this is always in like the top 10. Fly. Sorry.
I saw you
Spirit. The spirit.
Go away, spirits. So the museum's director reports seeing an apparition of a woman in Mr. Clayton's study. She's usually wearing a brown dress and has gray hair pulled back into a bun. She often appears through windows of the house. So that's also why I always look in like windows of haunted old places, because I'm just waiting for one of them to look back at me.
Yeah.
The ghost has a peaceful aura about her and stands quite still. Some people think it might be Miss Clayton or perhaps a nurse from when it was a hospital. So again, nobody knows. But I have a picture.
Woohoo.
Of the ghosty.
Ooh.
Okay. Rolling. Clayton House. Okay, here it is. The window. See, like, face.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I wasn't ready.
So it's just a window, and it kind of looks like a woman, like with her big hair, like poofed up.
Yeah.
Gotta look really close. I wonder if I can.
Rachel's nose is on the computer screen.
Oh, that didn't help.
That's okay. I can see. Creepy. Oh, okay. Hold on. Now I have to lean back in. Yeah.
There's something there. There's something going on.
Brown dress, creepy hair, creepy.
Yes, very, very creepy. Okay. And then
would not have stayed around to take a picture.
No, and that's the inside of it. So really cute little house.
Oh yeah.
Very and that's the outside.
Okay, cute house though. Wow.
Yes, it's very beautiful and charming. I love the house. I don't really want the ghosts, but
no, I'll pass on that.
Yeah. And the woman also appears in photographs taken by construction workers in 2007 and 2008, but I could not find those on the internet. Which, fun fact, when I was a teen librarian, I would have the Historic Arkansas Preservation come and do a ghost presentation for my kids. And she brought in pictures and she showed those, and it looked like a woman in the picture, but I don't know where she got it from. She must have got it from the museum, but it's not online.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I also just wanted to say that I saw the fly. It went straight for it. It did a beeline for your forehead and bounced right up. I saw it. I saw it.
It should be a drinking game now when you guys watch this live. How many times I get pelted in the face by a fly?
Oh my god.
And it's mostly because my dogs learned how to open doors. So they'll just open the door and then the flies come in, and it's just a vicious cycle.
Oh my god, hilarious.
And in this house, people also claim to be touched by things that are not there. And I don't want to be touched. And they also pull their hair, and that's also a big no for me.
Yeah.
Personal space, social distancing, get the fuck away.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not huge on I don't know. I'm not huge on like ghosts and stuff. Not that I don't believe that they exist, but I just have not really had experiences myself. But the exception of that is one time, and I'm not super freaked out by this, but I swear on my life that this happened. A couple of my siblings and my mom and I, we went to the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California.
Oh, awesome.
Very cool. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. And we're in this room, and there were like a lot of us. Again, this is pre-COVID times, so more than like 2 people could actually be in a room together. And there's a bunch of us. We're all crowded in there. And I thought that my hair had gotten caught on like a hook that was on the wall, like just like a hanger, a hook or something. Because that's what it felt like. It felt like I just had like this little tug. So I turned around and I looked, and there's nothing on the wall. So I was like, okay. So then I looked over at like my siblings. I'm like, did you just pull my hair? And they were like, no. So then I look at my fiance at the time. I'm like, did you just pull my hair? He's like, why would I pull your hair? And and so like, I'm not super freaked out, but I swear on my life that did happen, where my hair really felt like it was like stuck to the wall or like tugged by something, and everyone swears they didn't do anything.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I've never had anything like that.
That's my only experience. It was weird.
Oh, apparently that happens a lot here.
That's what I'm hearing.
Also say that people hear footsteps, boot stomping, and doors slamming, and they also see apparitions throughout the house. And then on some occasions, they hear music and singing, which could be lovely. Just
like it's lovely to hear Al Capone playing his banjo still at Alcatraz, but
yeah.
I'm still gonna pass.
And then our final little ghosty is nicknamed the Tall Angry Man.
Oh no.
So it's gonna go well. The last person to see him thought he was a reenactor because he looked that real. So then they went up to like the employee and was like, who's that dude? And they're like, what dude? And they're like, there's nobody else in the house. So Tales whole spooky time with that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said that the ghost looked lost, so the man walked over to try to help him, and then he just disappeared. So I would probably be a little scared if I went up to somebody and was talking, and then you just ghosted me,
totally.
literally.
A little bit. Literally ghosted you.
Yes, I just don't think I would appreciate that because, you know, I'm very logic-minded too. Like, I think ghosts probably exist. I haven't really experienced anything. I think I want it too much. So I think that's my problem. But I think if it did happen, I would be like, oh, especially something I couldn't, you know, explain away.
Right.
Yeah.
And the visitor told him that he was tall, wore all black, had an angry face, and he was wearing a top hat, like a little dapper ghost.
Yikes, creepy.
And they're like, yeah, that's the tall, angry man. I like all these stories too, where they go to like the director or something. Like, I just saw that. And like, oh yeah, that's just Jim
Don't
Bob.
worry,
Bob. Don't
it's
worry about it.
It's just Bill 2.0. Don't worry about him.
Like, he just does that. Don't worry about it.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's this house. I have my opinions on whether it's really haunted because I think the woman's just making a fortune off just saying it's haunted and it's not. But I've been in it a couple of times and she'll be like, if you feel something, pull on your skirts or your pants. It's our little girl. Her name's Itzy. Like, okay.
Gross. And you've never felt your skirt pulled on?
No. I've been in there twice because I'll open it up for like just go through it and see. But she's also like, yeah, it was a serial killer. But like, he only killed one person. I'm like, that's not how that works.
That's not what a serial killer is.
And I've covered it on the podcast. He left it was a hotel. And he left the hotel. He went to New Braunfels, which is like 20 minutes driving on a horse. So God knows how long that took. And then he meant to murder his wife and accidentally killed a kid. And then rode his horse all the way back to Seguin, which again, 20 miles, that's a long way. And then went to sleep. And so she says that he and the little girl they accidentally killed, axed in the face, kind of like Lizzie. Haunt the place.
Full circle.
Interesting.
And they call her Itsy because they say Itsy Bitsy Spider will play in your head.
Nope. Nopity nope.
Yeah.
She's made a lot of money off of this house.
Oh yeah. It's an Airbnb and it's like $300 a night.
Just like the whatever, the
boarding house. Yeah. I'm thinking of an Airbnb that my husband and I stayed in that was it was like an hour-ish from here, but it was close to I'm having a hard time talking. It was close to being able to take a ferry out to like San Francisco. So that's why we stayed there, but cheaper than staying in San Francisco. And creepy house. Like, I'll have to show you pictures. Like, Leah, I'm sure you've seen pictures of it, right?
Decorated like witch, or it was decorated with like witchy stuff.
It was fantastic,
but like pitchy witchy stuff, not real witchy stuff.
Correct. Yeah, no, fantastic. Like, the room that we stayed in was like, there were like shelves with like potions all over, and like the sheets had skulls and crossbones on them, right? All that is to say that we stayed there for $30 a night. So not $300 a night.
Oh yeah, the bed and breakfast I was trying to buy. I mean, maybe they're trying so hard to sell it, so I know they're not waiting on me. But if I can ever get it, hell yeah, I'll say it's haunted. If I can,
sure. If it brings you tours and money, okay.
Oh yeah, well, it was a hospital for one of those big diseases. I don't remember which one, but yeah, it was
the COVID-19 or
like one of the 1800 ones. Oh, I don't want to say it's not syphilis.
Although people were riddled with syphilis in the 1800s.
Tuberculosis. I think it was like a tuberculosis hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has a really cool prohibition basement. It had like tunnels and stuff. It's so cool. And I want
that is awesome.
Yeah. And it has a massive carriage house. And that's where we were going to live. We were going to restore it and make it our house.
I love this so much.
I want it so bad.
I'm sending you lots of good thoughts.
Yes.
That is awesome.
I need $1 million. If anybody knows how to get that, like, how many TikTok views do I need to get to be able to buy this? So many.
Oh man,
I've been seeing a lot of those. Like, if you watch this 3 times, I could afford to do this. I'm like,
on TikTok, I've been seeing that a lot.
What does that mean? Is that how that works? Can you
monetize TikTok? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can monetize TikTok. So depending on how many views you get money per view, so it's like a third of a cent per view, something super small. But if you get 6 million views or whatever, then it some people live off of TikTok now.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I've only gotten like 1,000 views once, and I was really excited about it.
That's awesome. 1,000 views is great.
I was gonna say that's good. Yeah, 1,000.
Yeah. This Lizzie Borden TikTok with "Don't be suspicious." It's gonna what's gonna happen.
I need you to send it to us afterwards. I need to see it.
Yeah, look me up. I am on TikTok. I just don't post anything.
She doesn't post anything. She just sends the TikToks out.
TikTok is now my love language. So if I'm sending you TikToks like via a text message or something, that means I love you.
Well, I feel extremely loved then.
Yeah, you should. Rachel, you're like number 2 in how many TikToks I send.
I'm kind of offended I'm not number 1.
It's my husband.
I know.
Every time I send my husband one, he's like, "Stop with the TikToks."
Well, that's my biggest thing with TikTok is my husband doesn't get it. He doesn't have one. He doesn't have any interest in it. And so I'm trying to win him over, and he's like, I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I think they're hilarious. I love all of them.
I also needed to point out that my cat.
Oh my god! Wait, freeze. Hold on, I want to take a picture. Hold on. Okay. Got it.
He crawled into a box like right at my feet, and then I could tell he was like meowing loudly, so I had to pick it up. And now
this is so perfect. I'll send you both that picture. That literally is perfect.
That's amazing.
Oh my god! And now he's in the box on my lap. So
we just had a kitty adopt us. He started out a shed kitty because he just showed up under our shed, and then he wouldn't leave, so I fattened him up, and now his name is Prince of Wallachia, aka
Oh my god, that's so
because he's like Vlad the Impaler, and he murders a lot of things. So he's murdering bugs and putting them in my shoe. So,
oh my god,
so cool. He's my little Dracula. Yeah, I was trying to be witty with historical things, but I'm like, it was either that or Caligula. Like,
I love that.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, little boots.
Can you see that?
That's
oh my god. I'll send that out later. That is so great.
Oh, that's such a good
I love it so much.
Oh man, well, thank you guys so much for joining me again. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, it really has been fun. Thank you for having us.
Anytime.
Yeah, we love it. Whenever you have some other themes coming up, let us know.
Oh, I will. Absolutely. We're starting to pick them now. I thought we had plenty of time, and I was like, oh shit, got to do more polls on Patreon. I need more stuff.
Love it. We always have such awesome topics. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, we do polls on Patreon, and they pick them. So
that's a great idea.
And then they pick the random words too. So
that's awesome. And your Facebook group is really active too.
Oh yes, yeah. Our Speakeasy is for everybody, so if you want to join that. And then we have a top secret confidential Patreon.
Love it.
Facebook too, which is just a bunch of like really funny history memes most of the time.
Love it. No, you do good work. I just got invited to a why am I having a hard time talking? Another I know why I'm having a hard time talking. I got invited to another history podcast's Discord. Do you know what Discord is?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that thing is popping like all the time. They're doing like really good work over there. Laura Roberts, I still want to know if you're the Laura Roberts from Tap on the Wrist before you pop out, unless you already did. And Local Lou, that was awesome that you joined. Thank you.
You should join the Time Travel Talks Discord.
I am part of theirs.
Okay.
I didn't realize you were part of it.
I am. I'm not very, I get so behind and then I'm trying to catch up. So I don't really say anything, but yeah, they got some really good conversations going.
I know. Just Discord's cool. I had thought about maybe doing one for us even, but oh my God, just trying to stay on top of it is like a little stressful.
Yeah.
Yay, Laura. Well, I see she said yes. Laura, you did an awesome job at the cocktail thing. It was so cool. I loved it.
You made Rachel almost want to drink gin.
It was close. It was close. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks everybody for listening in the comments too.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. And thank you again, Kina, for having us on. That was fun.
Yeah, yes, no problem. Sure. It's always we need all the joy we can get in these times of the COVIDs and the
for sure.
And the COVID darkness. And the Trumps.
Yes.
I know, at least that has changed since the last time we talked. At least we're on the flip side of maybe having a better country in a couple months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What a week. That Saturday, it was just like all the stress I think I'd been holding for so long just released.
Rachel literally slept 4 hours in like 3 days.
Yeah, I would say Leah can tell you. I text her and was like, he's gonna lose, Biden's gonna lose. And
she was like, she would text, and granted, like, I'm keeping up on it to the normal extent, right? But I would get like hourly updates of Arizona is now polling at this percentage, and this is the projected things, and I have my own map, so I know mine's more accurate than what CNN is projecting. And I was girl.
I remember your very first text to me, Leah, was like, you're like, oh, sorry, just woke up from 8 hours of sleep. Let me see what it looks like. And you're like, it looks like Biden's ahead. It looks like things are fine. I was like, you don't understand. Because I was down to like she was just saying, like, I knew percentages. I knew exactly how many mail-in ballots we were still waiting on. I knew what the counties primarily were, like if it was a red district or a blue district. So I was like, you don't understand. All the ones still to come in are all from red counties, you know?
But she made me understand. By the end of that week, I was a knowledgeable person, thanks to my friend Rachel.
You're welcome. Oh, I was staying in negative Nancy as long as I could because I just didn't want to get my hopes up too early.
Oh yeah, I was afraid of having too much hope because I thought I was going to jinx it because I was really cocky in 2016. Like I didn't think it was possible.
We all were. We all were like, it's not gonna happen. Are you joking?
Yeah. It's oh man, I would love to have been in New York City. I could just the TikToks of just the cheering in the streets.
That's Texas, and then Laura commented, she was like, oh, New York City was a party that day. I remember that day, like looking online at like LA and New York and all these cities like partying, and I was like, oh, I live in the suburbs.
It was so cute because Laura, she posted like a couple videos on her Instagram of like walking around New York and seeing how cool it was. And our friends from Beyond Reproach podcast, they also were posting videos, right? So I'm talking to the host of Beyond Reproach, and he's like, it's so cool here. Everyone's cheering. He's like, what's it like in your neighborhood? And I was like,
we're like, silent. I hear lawnmowers. There's some people mowing their lawn down the street.
Right. Totally. I hear a dog barking in the distance. Yeah. I'm like, I live in the suburbs, so
but not the same.
Oh yeah, I was like the two blue counties. I'm the red spot in between. I'm like, damn it,
that's you.
Yeah. Most of my neighbors have taken down their Trump stuff. My across the street still has their flag up, and they won't take it down. I'm just like, he's lost.
I'm actually surprised to hear that because most of my neighborhood, I've seen like, Biden Harris flags, or I've seen like love is love type flags. But there was one neighbor 2 houses down, and I've said, okay, so my husband and I, we've gone on like a lot of walks because I mean it's quarantine, right? So that's what we do. Like, you want to go out, and out means like taking a 15-minute walk around the park. So we've gone on a lot of walks. We passed by this house. It's 2 houses down. And I've always said, like, they look like cool people. Like, they've retrofitted their garage to have like a TV in there. They have like a pool table. I'm like, they're cool. Maybe we should make friends with them. And he's like, you wouldn't want to be friends with them. So I'm like, how do you know this stuff? Right. And it's like 2 days before Election Day, a Trump flag goes up in their yard. I'm like, how did you know that? And he's like, no, I knew, I could tell. I knew they were Trump supporters. Right. So 2 days before Election Day, this flag goes up. Literally like 2 days after Election Day, they take it down. I was like, that's actually almost more shitty to me, that like, that shows how wavering your support is to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I'm saying I'm surprised that in your neighborhood, obviously those are people then, Kina, that still believe all this fraudulent voting is happening, because in my neighborhood, the only Trump flag that there was got taken down immediately.
Oh yeah. Like luckily, I mean, downtown there were a lot of Biden signs, but like in the outskirts, like we're right outside of town, it was just all Trump stuff. Like an obsessive amount. Like just the guy that lives around the block, he has the Trump train flag on his truck, and then he has all the signs in his yard. And then this one old dude had 2 flags, 5 bumper stickers, and then like 3 signs. And like the day after election, I saw he's a little old dude too, and I just saw him like scraping off all the bumper stickers.
That's what I love. I love all the videos I've seen of people just like with their head hung low, like just taking the signs off of their lawn, their Trump signs. I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're Seguin. I forgot where I live for a second. Jesus.
Oh no.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm outside of San Antonio in Austin. The one Seguin town. So yeah.
Oh man. Actually,
it's a cute little town. A little too conservative for me, but it's a cute town.
And say I actually have the tap on the wrist. Okay, hold on. I can't turn this correctly. This one is their podcast sticker.
Oh, awesome. Oh, cool. Did you see the world's largest pecan while you were here?
Stop.
You have the world's largest pecan. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then they built one, and then some other country built one bigger. So then they built a bigger one. So now there's
stop.
Multiple pecans. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's our crowning glory here.
What do we have, Leah? Old sack is what we have.
Yeah. And it's literally called Old Sack. Just soak that in for a second. Because it's Old Sacramento, and now everybody calls it Old Sack.
They even call themselves that on Instagram, Old Sack.
I mean, that's what it is now. That's what it is over time become.
You want to go to Old Sack? Like, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You went to Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is something you cannot miss when you're in Texas. You have to go to a Buc-ee's. And everybody's like, why would I want to go to a gas station? Well, you don't understand. You have to just
I don't understand. What?
Oh, Buc-ee's is amazing. Okay. When we moved here, somebody was like, go to Buc-ee's. It's like 100 and something gas pumps, and they have like 100 and something bathrooms, and they clean it every 20 minutes. It's the cleanest bathrooms you ever go to. And it has,
oh my God.
They have like barbecue and fudge, and they have a bakery, and they have sandwiches, and then they have a whole wall of like Buc-ee's a beaver, by the way, beaver related candies, and there's like beaver nuggets, and they're so good.
Oh my God, this sounds amazing.
And then it's like a little country store on the other end, and there's like cloves and knickknacks. It looks kind of like a Cracker Barrel type thing. I don't know. It's amazing. I just take everybody there now.
I love it. It's a gas station.
Yeah. It's an experience.
Wow.
I guess that would the most close thing we could probably relate that to is like In and Out burger, maybe.
Well, in Texas, they'll fight you because they're like, no.
You have what is it
called?
Whataburger.
Yes, that's right.
Oh yeah, the $45 jerky for sale. I spent so much money the first time I went to Buc-ee's. It was embarrassing. And then I took my mom there, and she did the same thing. She just kept buying stuff. Yeah, beaver nuggets are good. I like beaver nuggets. It's a way of life.
They sound great. I hope they're not actually made of beaver meat.
No, they're like corn pops with like brown sugar kind of thing.
It.
Yeah, good. That sounds fantastic.
It's where I get my. I think I have a Buc-ee's. Do I have one? Hope I'm not flashing anybody. Oh no, I'm out. If you're a $10 and above patron, you get a postcard, and the Buc-ee's ones are like this big. So
I love it. That is awesome. That is such a great idea.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well this was fun, and I'm gonna pee my pants shortly. So.
Okay. Oh my God. In a box.
Wait, okay, I have to get another picture. I can't.
Like,
I cannot.
Why? It's like, what are you doing?
Wait, tilt him up again.
I'm gonna tilt him down.
I cannot. Okay, I got it.
Oh man.
What a weirdo. That's my life.
Saving it. I love it so much.
Mally and I say bye.
Bye. If he fits, he sits. Yes.
Oh, I love it so much.
Oh, everybody have a good night.
Thank you, Kina. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Bye.
All right. See you, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.